Hey guys, how's it going? Just wanted to pop in with another update as usual. So as the title suggests, I wanted to mention that we currently have very basic versions of crafting, enchanting, and gem slots working in the game. Crafting and enchanting were actually meant to be part of the original game, but it's something we never really got around to implementing, and as time went on, I don't know if it would have fit the mechanics of the game anyway. Okay, so I'm going to pop over here to Soda Dungeon 2. So on the screen here, we have the Tavern, we have the Wizard's Shop or Hut, whatever you want to call it. We have the Blacksmith and the Carpenter. And again, I just want to stress that this in particular, and this, are definitely placeholder graphics. And a lot of the menus you see are definitely placeholder because we just have a real focus on functionality first. So if you go to the blacksmith, you will have your usual stuff like upgrades you can buy and sell. And if you buy, just like the first game, the blacksmith will feature items. We're going to try and work to make more unique items, or at least more items that appear as the game goes on. Because last time in the previous game, the blacksmith was kind of useless after a while. But and right now he also sells some raw materials, so you can buy pelts and iron ore. And I don't know if we'll keep that for the final game, but this is mostly for testing. But we have an option here for craft. So if you go into craft, we have an alternate window, and what you see here are recipes. So right now there's a recipe for leather, iron ingots, and a red gem. So as you look at each one, it basically shows you what you need. So to craft one piece of leather, you need 5 pelts, and you can see that we have 12. So we have 12 out of 5 needed, so we could craft 2 if we wanted. And down below it says I already own 6, so I can click on craft. I now have 7. That reduces my total count, and that's just basically how crafting works. And then over here, and again, these recipes are probably temporary. Right now I have a red gem that you can craft for just one iron bar and a bottle. And so you can craft that, and now we have an extra red gem. So the red gems, or just gems in general, are meant to be put into items. And so that is not something we planned with the original game, but something that we kind of brainstormed with this one we thought would be fun, is to have items that have gem slots on them. With the idea being you equip them with certain gems to modify the properties of your items and weapons. But that presented a very big problem, because as I'm sure you're aware, in Soda Dungeon you can have 99 of any item. So let's say you had a shield you wanted to put a gem into. How would you know how would the game know which of the 99 you're putting that gem into? And then once you had it, how could you find it? When you go to equip an item, you have 99 of them. How does it know which one of the stack is actually the one that has the equipment? So to solve that, our solution was to basically wrap that up into enchanting. So if we go over to the Wizard's Shop here, we have 2 options for enchant and slot gems. So right now, even though we have, and let me show you real quick. If I go to the shield here, so I have a shield called the Golden Eye, and it doesn't say that it can have gems in it right now, but I'm sure we'll fix that in the future. But you can see visually that it has an empty spot here for a gem. So I can equip that on my guy or just leave it or whatever. So if you want to put a gem into a slot right now, if I click on slot gems, I get an error message because it says no items are available. And that's because to do that, you have to enchant it first. So if you go to enchant, right now you can technically enchant any item you have. The idea behind enchanting is sort of a twofold approach. In that one, you'll be able to actually level up your items and increase their stats. But that it will also give you the ability to put in gems totally separate from the other stats. So if I go to the Golden Eye, I can enchant it. And right now it just reduces its count. I don't get a message or anything, but it reduced its count because it's now considered a separate item. So if I go back into equip a shield here, you'll see that I have 2. I have the original Golden Eye, which I still have 2 of, and then I have one called the Enchanted Golden Eye. And right now they have the same stats, but eventually enchanting, like I said, will be used to actually change the stats of your items or increase them. So now that we have an enchanted version of it, I can go back into slot gems, and you'll see that it shows me the one item I have that's enchanted that I can put a gem into. So, and then we have this slot here that represents the gem itself, which again is not very visually indicative of what it needs to be, but just things we'll fix as we go along. And if I click on that, it shows me just the, all I have that I can put into it is the red gem. I have 9 of them actually, not that it really matters, but. So if I click on that, and sorry, I think the webcam might be blocking some of this. Let me scoot that over. So the red gem is there, and you can see it has an attack bonus of 1 and no HP. So I can click on equip here, and what's important is you can actually see it visually gets put into the item. So you can see the gem you can see the gem show up in the slot here, but also it actually gets placed into the shield. So now if we go to equip that item, and this makes it easier to see in the item menu here. Like I said, we have the original golden eye, and then we also have this new one with the gem actually in it. And the stats now have been updated because the gem does provide a 1 attack bonus. So over here we have the original shield, attack 0, HP 1, and here we have attack 1, HP 1. So I can actually equip that and take that into battle, and that will serve as a different, more powerful item. So, you know, that sort of shows you our direction with the gem slots. The issue we have right now is just that with the size of the gems we've created, it might make it trickier to put them into other items. Shields are a very good fit for gems because of their size and their proportions. And I'm sure we'll also do this with weapons. We'll just have to make sort of specially, you know, the weapons might have to be thicker in order to fit the gems into them and stuff like that. But either way, I think I'm sure we'll find a way to figure it out. And I'm sure we can get them put into armor as well, which I think would be pretty cool. So the other thing about enchanting is that we're really hoping to make it, we really want to replace the old game system of just finding leveled up versions of the items in the dungeon. So in Soda Dungeon 1, you know, every item came in like a level 1 through 10 version, and you would just find them in the dungeon. And I think that worked for the most part. But I would love to make it so that there's more of a focus on enchanting one particular item. So it's not like you would go into the dungeon and find a level 5 iron sword. You would still find your iron sword, but the focus is more on finding materials to enhance that item. So once you find enough, you know, whatever materials we come up with, whether it's iron ore or some, like diamonds or some special material, you know, eventually as time goes on, you would get the equivalent of a level 5 or a level 10 sword, but just through different means. But like I said, the system is still very new and it's being worked on, so some of these things could be subject to change. In other news, we were able to launch on the Amazon Appstore last month. So in case anyone isn't up to date with this, I'll catch you up real quick. So Soda Dungeon was available on the Amazon Appstore through a sub-app called Amazon Underground. And it was a sort of a strange thing because in order to play the game, you actually had to download this other app, and then through that you could find a special version of Soda Dungeon. But unfortunately, Amazon has decided to end that program. I guess it just didn't work out well enough for them, or I don't know. We just sort of received an update saying that they were closing down the store. So we decided we still wanted the app to be available to Amazon users, so our publisher, Armor Games, decided to contract a third party to produce a port for the Amazon platform, which allowed us to continue to work on Soda Dungeon 2 without interruption. So next month I want to cover something called SodaScript. That is the current name for our in-game proprietary scripting language for artificial intelligence. And I did post a little bit about this on Twitter and our subreddit, but the idea is that one of the major complaints from the first game is that you couldn't really change how your teammates fought in battle. In particular, like you couldn't change the percent at which a healer healed, you couldn't change the way in which they target enemies, you couldn't really change any of that. So SodaScript is our way of addressing that, and hopefully it opens up a lot more potential options for our players. But like I said, that should be next month, so until then, I'll catch you guys later.